Hey y'all, welcome back to Bookshelf of Opinions. I'm Elizabeth,
And I'm Hannah.
and we're two highly professionally trained podcast hosts who don't have technical difficulties at all.
We have never once had a technical difficulty, guys.
Never, don't even listen to our original beginning episodes. Anyways, Hannah,
Yeah,
what
anyways.
have you been reading?
I am so glad you asked.
Tell us.
I am pleased to announce that I finally finished Blue Graffiti.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Hannah's finished the task here.
For reference, I have to pull my Goodreads.
February 19th.
February 19th. Thank you. I finished it. I started reading it on February 19th. I forget things very easily, if you couldn't tell.
I live my life as I'm like on the Truman Show. I'm like a script, obviously, if you can tell.
Clearly. No, I started it February 19th, just finished it today, so March 24th. 303 pages. Read the last 100 pages today.
Nice.
It was good.
Mm-hmm.
All books for me are a 5-star read, unless they're a very obvious 2-3-star read. Just because I feel mean giving them not a good review unless they deserve it. But no book I've read doesn't deserve a good review, you know?
Yeah, I understand that.
But you'll get it. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
But I read it for the author, I think, is what kept me going. That was the excitement to get me into it.
I understand that.
And the forgiveness arc at the end was the punch we needed in part 1.
Well, and I also think it's hard because it's it's a storyline, there's a plot, but it doesn't follow a dialogue of that. It's written in a poetic way.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
The way it's choppy feels more like
poetry. Yeah.
And the back and forth,
Which
the
I
flashbacks.
applaud and I appreciate that writing, but it's very hard to follow.
It's great writing, just difficult, like you said.
Yeah.
But like I said, that punch in part 2, that's halfway, at the last quarter of the book, it needed just something of equal value in part 1, which we kind of got with Rose.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't as strong a punch, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But because I finished Blue Graffiti, that means I officially started Sunrise on the Reaping.
Woohoo!
And I've read the first 2 chapters. So I'm nowhere near, I feel like everyone else I know that's read it has finished it. I know, but everyone else I know who's read it, y'all are all done. So now I'm I got to play catch up. But I'm actually excited for this.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of thoughts and opinions. And I feel we'll talk thoughts and opinions. We'll process thoughts and opinions in the next episode. Because I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to be finished with it by the next episode. Okay. And I feel that gives people 2 weeks to read the book, too. Yeah. Anyways, what have you been reading, Elizabeth?
I'm so glad you asked me this question. I finished Indigo Ridge, that I talked about last episode. And then I started the second one, Juniper Hill. Finished that in one night, although I forgot to mark it off on my Goodreads, so I did that this morning. Or last night, I can't remember.
Did you go back and edit the dates?
No, but oh well, that's fine. And then, because last Tuesday, well, 2 Tuesdays by the time this comes out anyways, I started Sunrise on the Reaping.
Yeah, you did.
And I finished it last night, which will have been a week by the time this episode comes out. And let me just tell you, I cry every time I think about it. And I am not kidding when I say I cry.
I haven't cried yet.
I'm trying to hold it. I really am actually extremely dehydrated because I've cried so much.
Oh, that's not healthy.
I literally have voice memoed, videoed messages 3 friends losing my mind over this, and then everything just makes sense. Thinking back to Battle of Songbirds and Snakes, I'm oh, all the future Hunger Games.
From the 2 chapters I've read so far, I'm scared.
Yeah, you
with
should
all
be.
The droppings of just information.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people.
I'm trying to be vague.
No, I get it.
Right now,
I saw a lot of people, and obviously we'll say this for the episode we talk about, where people are I just don't want to just be a book that just is let's just throw in this because people but this book.
But I don't think
it's not. It is obviously she wrote this book after writing the originals, but it could be it is a standalone. You know,
the only thing so far that I get from it is. So far, I could read it and have never known anything else, but I appreciate it so much more because I know everything that's happened after it.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and say, Elizabeth, what have you been listening to? Because you're about to cry.
Wait, but what I'm currently reading.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I thought, why not just try to like drown the pain
Emotional damage
and start a new book? Is that I'm reading Where Sleeping Girls Lie, which is that book that you said won the young adults book on Goodreads, and you had never heard of it.
Oh yeah,
I don't have the dust cover on it and stuff.
I think I wanted to read that one too,
but I bought it. The front cover has Braille on it, which I'm really interested in it.
Cool.
And it's Where Girls Lie, like Where Sleeping Girls Lie, and lie is LIE. So it's like a interesting, but it's like she goes to this boarding school. I read the synopsis, like boarding school, someone goes missing, she has all this trauma, so I'm really interested in it. I feel like I have really high hopes because it won the young adults novel Goodreads,
and there were a lot of good contenders too.
There were, so that's what I'm really curious about.
It didn't have Bookstagram and like book talk people calling for it makes me excited,
because I haven't heard of it until you talked about saying you saw on Goodreads. So that
sorry, I just remembered to have a Barnes & Noble gift card that I found in my wallet, and I don't know if it has money on it.
I have 2 Barnes & Noble gift cards I've been saving because I'm gonna get Magnolia Parks.
Yeah, you are.
I'm gonna get those books. Anyways,
sorry.
But yes, that's what I'm currently reading.
Very exciting.
Yes. What have you been listening to?
I have been listening to my Windows Down Screaming playlist, and then in light of last week's episode, a lot of Disney Channel movie music. That was almost my whole drive home today. I
hope y'all know I walked away from last week's episode so satisfied.
I'm glad you did. I honestly didn't feel awful. I watched Lemonade Mouth. I cried. And then I felt okay. And then I listened to Hannah Montana, so I felt the balance was restored.
But that one bracket I sent you of Disney Channel original shows and movies, I think I could
do it. Okay. I don't think right now in my current, I don't think I could like right now, but I think I could do it.
Change of plans, ladies and gentlemen.
But so that I feel like that's really all I've been listening to is those playlists, and then I have the same music taste. I've been really into Piano Man. But when am I not? I love Billy Joel so much. Yeah. Anyways, what have you been listening to?
Okay, let me think. I've been listening to the song I Wish You Would by Mackenzie Carpenter and Midland, whatever. It's a good song. But in light of reading Sunrise on the Reaping, I've made a playlist of all the soundtracks of all the Hunger Games movies. So like Battle Songwriter Snakes, literally like Safe and Sound. Like I've literally been listening to like all of these Hunger Games.
Beautiful.
So many good songs.
So many good.
But I'm like,
they killed it with the soundtrack.
And I'm like, I forgot that this is on the soundtrack, you know? Like, Eyes Open, is that it? Taylor Swift? Yeah, I forgot that was in the first one.
Oh, I don't ever forget that.
And I was like, oh, my heart. So anyways.
You know what's weird? Is because I've been watching Divergent and Insurgent these past couple of days, like 2 days. Is because I'm watching it on the DVD because it's not available to stream anywhere in America right now. Without paying money. And I have the DVDs. I can pull out a DVD player, but it's watching the little trailers at the start.
I love
the trailers for Divergent and Insurgent is Mockingjay Part 1 and Mockingjay Part 2.
Yeah,
and it's so cute. And then I think the end of Divergence, like the last trailer, is announcing Catching Fire is available on DVD. And it's just so cute. I'm like, God, it's been 13
what a
years.
Time to be alive. Yes.
12 years. 11 years? I don't know for those.
13 years.
13 years since it all started, movie-wise.
Wow.
Crazy.
I love how it's still relevant. Like, well, no, but last week John Green released a new book, and everyone's like, "We're back in 2014 again."
No, like seriously. I thought he just was making those school videos.
I know. That's why I need to look and see which one get that book. But I was like,
no, it really is.
Let me get my black Converse and black ripped skinny jeans and beanie, you know? I'm like, oh no. 2014
when we were 12.
Pinterest and Wattpad and everything.
And it was a time.
Starbucks people were obsessed with it.
Well,
I mean, I just remember it was just a Galaxy. Everyone loved Galaxy type things.
Oh, yeah.
I don't miss that at all.
No, I was in the mustache group.
I can see that. I had a purple sparkly mustache ring.
I would like draw it on my hand and do like I was that.
Yeah.
Was that era.
Yeah. And you had the funky sunglasses. Everyone had funky. I had a black sparkly beanie.
I wore a church beanie, but I had a pink sparkly skirt and hot pink suspenders.
Nice. I had hot pink suspenders. I had bows on them. No, let me tell you this one outfit that I thought I killed.
Oh gosh.
Sorry. I actually wore this to church the day my brother got baptized.
Stop. I need to tell you an outfit too.
I didn't know my brother was getting baptized that day. And I'm wearing black combat boots with hot pink laces, bright purple tights. Like, I'm telling you, bright
Why do I feel
purple.
like I remember this
No,
outfit?
I'm sure you had, because I was in middle school. Like, why was I wearing this? A black skirt, a bright matching purple t-shirt, and a black sparkly cardigan with my black sparkly
I
beanie.
so remember this
Yeah,
outfit.
and my hair was short, and I'm wearing a long owl necklace because, that's what you did.
That was peak Elizabeth.
Oh, bad.
Okay. I raised you church VBS at my grandparents' church wearing short brown corduroy shorts.
Oh, those were the thing.
A brown, and I mean short for the time, a brown tank top, hot pink suspenders.
Wow.
With my bright purple Converse.
Wow.
Not for a baptism, but for VBS.
Yes. I did remember this one outfit, and I'm thinking about it. A hot pink t-shirt that had like a skull on it, but the skull was lacy because it's from like Justice, and it had a pink plaid bow.
Justice was the
and
moment.
Then I had a pink tennis skirt that matched, and then rainbow fishnet stockings. Mind you, I'm like 11.
Okay.
And then I wore plaid knockoff pink Converse with a matching pink beanie.
I see no issue in any. I wish we could bring back our early 2010s fit. 5th grade, 4th grade, one of those, 4th or 5th grade. I had gym that day. I wore the good, like the hard flip-flops, not the like cool flip-flops. Hot pink sparkly. Pink ruffle sparkly skirt.
Oh yeah.
The bright pink field day t-shirt I had my hair, that was a time when Hannah had curly hair, but she didn't know she had curly hair, so she had to brush it, and it just like was a lion's mane, so it was like half pulled up into a pink barrette. When I tell you I walked in and my gym coach was like, "Hannah, where are your tennis shoes?" I said, "Sir, they're not here today." And I sat on the side. Hannah was a sassy little elementary school girl.
"Sir, they are not here today."
They're not here today because my foot didn't need tennis shoes. It needed my bright pink sparkly flip-flops.
Oh man. Yeah, and you remember everyone wore the plaid Bermuda shorts with the graphic t-shirt?
Or the polos. Oh my picture day outfit in 2nd grade. Red crocheted beret.
Oh, nice.
Not beanie. Beret. Black, like rock and roll, like holographic blue and purple tee. Black and white houndstooth pants with my brother's old black Converse.
I think you should just been on Disney Channel.
No, that's for sure how I dressed. I was like, this is how they dress on Disney Channel. This is how I must dress in real life. And I slayed. One day I wore jeans with a plaid skirt over them because Hannah Montana wore it. So why can't I?
Exactly.
My mom said, "You're going to get too hot." I said, "I don't care." I did, in fact, get too hot on the monkey bars that day. I remember more of my elementary school fashion than I do middle school and high school. And I think that's because it was like our own fashion. And it wasn't what everyone else was wearing.
Yeah, that is true.
At least for me.
That is very true. Yeah.
It's when I didn't have a care what people thought of what I was wearing. I was like, let me express my individuality.
I remember my grandpa took us to Kohl's after Christmas. We got to pick out an outfit. And
fancy shopping.
Yes, I know. I had like this neon peach pink fuzzy sweater.
Okay.
And it had a printed on a Boston Terrier on it with a bow. And then I had these gray leggings that had the matching peachish pink color roses, and then bright blue roses and purple roses and neon green roses. Wore those with that sweater. And then again, the black combat boots with the hot pink laces.
It's a sleigh.
And I was like, this is my new favorite outfit. I'm going to be wearing this everywhere. Like, it was such a nice sweater. I mean, it's probably the most... but it was so nice material.
I will say, the one time, like, I realized maybe my fashion is a little too unique for an elementary school girl. I was wearing a pale pink shirt, and it said "Creative Chicks Rule the World," but it was in, like, glitter, and so it looked like handwriting, and then there was, like, a little chick on it in a fancy outfit, and it had, like, tulle on it, and Miss Patsy, she looks and she goes,
yes.
She goes, "Hannah, did you make that shirt yourself?" And I said, no. And then in that moment, I was like, I can't ever wear this shirt again. It's got to look store-bought or it's not it. Like, it was a time. Wow.
Sounds like a time.
I don't even know how we got on the clothing tangent.
I don't either.
except I know it was needed.
Talk for a moment. I need to.
Okay. Well, let's see. I don't know what to talk about. Oh, I need to move the Lego flower that's on my bookshelf because it's on the wrong shelf because I had to put blue graffiti finally on my shelf. It's sitting with my Emily Henry books, and that's because Emily Henry was like helping Callahan, like not right, but like be an encourager and a supporter and all of those things. I don't know. I really am out of words. Normally I can just yap. I guess I am yapping about the fact that I can't yap right now. You're welcome, guys. Elizabeth, please be back soon. Or whenever it's convenient for you. We might just take a momentary pause in the middle of this episode because I don't know how much longer I can yap for. Oh, I know what I can do. I can read the cover of Sunrise on the Reaping.
Please do.
When you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there left to fight for? As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Panem. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. Back in District 12, Hamish Abernathy is trying not to think too hard about his chances. All he cares about is making it through the day and being with the girl he loves. When Hamish's name is called, he can feel all his dreams break. He's torn from his family and his love, shuttled to the capital with 3 other District 12 tributes, a young friend who's nearly a sister to him, a compulsive odds maker, and the most stuck-up girl in town. As the games begin, Hamish understands he's been set up to fail. But there's something in him that wants to fight, and have that fight reverberate far beyond the deadly arena. Sunrise on the Reaping.
Hannah's auditioned to be an audiobook narrator.
You're welcome, guys.
I was gonna give my something about the book, but we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for next week.
We're gonna write all our thoughts down.
So, fashion and childhood goes great
but we're talking about it of how like
changes.
We didn't really. So
Cute changes by David Bowie. We're gonna talk about a serious episode.
Because we are serious people
that are totally professionals.
Obviously.
All right.
Did you not hear that dramatic greeting, guys? That was pretty serious.
Hannah, my question for you today is, what's an important piece of advice you recently received? I have to say in that way because I feel like
I honestly don't know.
Wow, you should have come prepared. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I should have. I'm sorry I was busy reading all afternoon.
Sorry.
What is a piece of advice I've recently received?
I don't know. Let me go through my
thinking.
files.
Let me rack through my brain for just a moment. I don't think it's okay. It's not a new piece of advice, but it was just the friendly nudge and reminder of it wasn't necessarily a piece of advice I received, but I was like there by proxy when someone else was receiving it. And so it was the reminder I needed of like, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, that's good.
So we were talking about serving with our high school girls last night, and we're like, but also you can't just serve until you burn out.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything until you burn out, because how can you do anything else if you are burnt out? So I guess that's it. You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's really good.
What's the best piece of advice you've received lately?
Well,
don't say you weren't prepared because you wrote the questions.
Yesterday, at church, our pastor was talking about the armor of God and everything, and then he kind of went on a tangent thing talking about like how, and I know we always like everyone always says like words are so important, but it's like I don't think we realize like
words are
so important. Like you have the power to build someone up or tear them down, and I think it's also like I think it hit me really hard because I am someone who thrives off of words of affirmation. Not that I need all this praise, but that what you say that's gonna really matter to me. And it's like, oh wow, like what someone thinks about me or what someone says, like that's really gonna affect that person. You need to be conscious and aware of that. So I think that kind of hit me really yesterday. Yeah. Also, my mom always tells me like, where you are in your life doesn't have to match up with everyone else where they are. And I know that's so simple and basic, but like still I'm like, it matters. Like
it does.
Like you don't have to be on the same path as everyone else. That would be so boring.
For freaking real. Then how can you live vicariously through people?
Exactly.
Oh, this is a good one for you. How do you handle the balance of working full time and still having a social life, and for you also doing school full time?
Yeah. I'll be well, it honestly, it's hard. It's really hard, and I've had to figure out because since I do school online, I'm allowed more flexibility. And I work full time, which is great because I can actually get experience in what I want to do and get my degree and stuff. But it does I have to be careful about not exhausting myself with work or school so I don't have time to hang out with my family or my
Mm,
friends and everything and relationships. So figure that out. So for a long time it was hard. It was really hard. And I kind of need to have a schedule. That's why it's like we have a certain day we record. Um but there was a point I think last year where I was we recorded on Mondays. I did a Bible study with my friend on Wednesdays, and then I did a Bible study for these middle school girls that I still do. Like, I planned one for them on Thursdays, and then Fridays were open, and then Tuesdays, me and a friend were gonna try out this church youth group or our young adults group because I wanted to be involved in a young adults group, and I realized I was like, "I literally have no night besides Friday," which most
mhm,
people do things fun on Friday, to do anything, like, to spend time with my family and do school or just, like, decompress, and I was like, "I have to take a break from something," you know?
mhm,
'Cause I literally was out every night, and I don't like that at all, you know? Or I was busy, and so I've had to figure out how I think also allowing myself to stay committed to saying no. No is a complete sentence. I do
amen,
not have to do everything. No one will be disappointed in me, and if they are, that is their fault, and you have to work with other
amen.
people's schedules. Even being in a relationship, I have to balance that among my friends, among my family, school, and then you have someone else's schedule, and you have to figure out how to intertwine. I feel like I'm not really giving an answer and just saying how this is hard,
Mhm,
but I think I just had to learn to be like, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to change my schedule unless
yeah,
there's certain flexibility. But also, if you can't do it, you can't do it. Do not don't run yourself dry, like what
mhm.
you were saying. What about you?
Um, I found it actually very difficult. It was a lot easier when I was in school and working full time to have a
Mhm.
life, I found out. Now working, 'cause I think I found myself not having the excuse of like, well, I have to do school, so I can't say no to social
Yeah,
outings now.
interesting.
It's like last week, for example, like Thursday, moment of vulnerability. Look at me. I was so burnt out. Like I called my mom on the phone, like on my way home, like crying, and then was like, just so you know, I'm okay. But when I get home, I'm locking myself in my room. And as much as I love my family, I don't want to be around people
Mhm.
right now, but I want y'all to know I still love y'all. And in theory, the rest of my family wasn't supposed to be home. Of course, they were all home when I got home, but it's okay. And like that was what I needed. I took that night. I binge scrolled, I read, I watched TV, I ate food, and then I fell asleep by like 9 o'clock
Yeah.
and got like hours of sleep for the first time in ever, and was a new person. And then Friday night, I was ready to go hang out with people. Saturday, I was ready to go hang out with people and like be social again. And
Mhm.
so it was like my balance, I think I found is last week I did deplete myself,
Yeah.
but then I remembered I had to refill myself.
Mhm.
And so I think that's kind of what you're saying is
Yeah.
like
Well, it's
the
okay.
right knowing there it's okay to stay home and that I don't have to just
Yes.
say yes because, well, otherwise I'm just staying home and they know I'm staying home. But also
I
putting
have, this immense guilt for feeling lazy. I don't know if you feel that way?
so that's actually called executive dysfunction. You don't if you're actually truly being lazy, you're not feeling guilty.
Yeah, I know that, but
Okay, just making sure.
I just, it's like, oh, I'm like, "Well, I could be doing this," and they're all gonna think that, but it's like, "No, you need
No.
time to just not do
And if you're
anything."
doing life with the right people, they will fully understand that you can't you can't
Yeah.
people right now. Like that's my favorite not my favorite thing. It's not an excuse like a cop out, but it's like a very valid excuse if like I feel like my people now know I'm just like I can't people right now.
Yeah.
And they know, okay, Hannah can't like
Mhm.
on Sunday at church. I was supposed to serve and I called out like the day before because I knew I could not people and like because I was supposed to be greeting people and I'm like, I don't have it in me to just smile right now for the sake
Mhm.
of smiling and saying good morning. And so when I was leaving, my team lead, she was like, you're here, but you couldn't serve. And I was like, I couldn't people today. I said, I can talk to the people I want to talk to, but I can't fake it for anyone else. So she said, okay, hope you get some rest this week.
Yeah.
I'm like, those are the people you do life with.
Yeah. Yeah. Good advice. What's next?
Let's see, what is next?
I don't really understand the next question. I wrote it, so.
Oops, I'm gonna interpret this how I feel like I should. So, what are some things that you have learned over time that you to enjoy / that you do enjoy that were things you used to not?
Oh, just through life?
Like, just through life, like, what are things that you've come to realize, "I actually really do like that," or
Just anything?
but 2 years ago, I would have told you that was the bane of my existence, and I would have punched a wall if I ever had to do it.
Okay, I haven't answered this because growing up, anyone who knows me knows that I do not cook, do not enjoy cooking. I can cook. I just choose, like, my 2 sisters are good at cooking and baking and everything, and I'm always just like, "Oh, if they do it, then I have no need to do it," you know? But, in the past year, I have made quite a few scones. I made some cookies the
Yeah,
other
you
day,
have.
and I'm like, I actually like, I really do enjoy doing this. I make tzatziki sauce, like, and these are all just basic things, but I actually do enjoy making it, and I like that time of just, like, making and baking and stuff. But, like, if you told 16-year-old Elizabeth that, she'd be like, "Ain't no way in heck I'm baking," you know? But and I have to be like, "It's fine. Even if my food doesn't taste the same as my sister's, I do not care," you know?
And there's the pride of knowing
Yeah.
you were the one who made it.
Yeah, so I think that's also like learning to put down a book if you don't like it. That's really hard for me to do. Because I'm like, oh, I feel guilty, but I'm like, why waste time on something I don't enjoy?
Yeah, that might be me with Hope in at this point.
And that's okay, and I have to, if something I like, you might not like as well. But it's something that, like, me a year ago, I would have been like, no, I have to finish this book. I have to meet my reading goal. No, it doesn't really matter. It's fine, you know? I'm trying to think of what else. What's something I've learned not to do?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like, well, I guess this goes twofold of like what's something I've learned that I enjoy. I guess if we're doing that / something I've learned not to. I've always told myself I am not a people person, and in it mainly because, like, this is no shade against my dad. My dad is not a people person. He likes to be around the people he likes.
Yeah.
And so I always assumed I was the same way until my mom was like, "No, you're a people person. You just get peopled out very easily." And I was like, oh. And so since I've had that realization that I do in fact like people, like, I've had it outside of her, but well, I guess I've realized that I, like, actually enjoy talking, like, talking to strangers, which I think is also a force of every single job I've had has forced me to talk to strangers. And I think that's a great thing because you don't realize how people don't know how to talk to strangers.
Yeah.
Until you're talking to someone and I'm like, you've never talked to a person you've never met before. Or I'm working with someone and I'm like, you've never talked to a stranger before. Okay. But just, like, meeting someone and, like, even if you never talk to them again, knowing that tiny little bit of their story, I eat it up now. I'm like, oh, tell me that tiny little, where did you go to school? What do you do for, like, tell me the tiniest little detail. Oh, this happened to your grandkid? I'm so sorry. Like, I want to know the tiniest, like, little minuscule detail. And then if I see you again in a year, I can be like, I don't remember your name, but how is whatever this happened? Or I remember this random fact about you. And it makes me so excited. But then at the same time, like, with the people I am around now, I guess I've learned to not, like, something I don't do anymore, I guess, is, this is gonna sound bad, but, like, give into unequal relationships. Because I used to be very much like, oh, I have to be like, everyone has to feel included, and then at a certain point, if you're including everyone, who's including you?
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of like a twofold dagger.
I relate to that in the sense also with my job. Like, you just have to make small talk with just parents and everything. So I've learned to just really branch out, and even though it stresses me out, but I'm like, I have to be able to do it and do these things. But I have
learned it's easier if you ask the questions versus being asked the questions. Like, be prepared with your mental list of, like, what's your 2 to 3 basic, you can grab one and ask someone, and it makes life so much easier. Otherwise, I'm sitting there at my computer, like, typing fake emails to avoid sometimes having people ask me questions. I'm like, I don't want you to talk to me right now, so I'm gonna look really busy because I don't have my questions ready for you yet. Anyways, sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm in the process of learning and doing it of, like, what you said, like, relationships, friendships change and grow over time. So you can't have the same friendship with someone that you had at 16. Unless you're mean, Hannah. I'm just kidding.
But our relationship has also grown a lot.
It has,
because we're not 16 anymore.
Yeah. But you can't hold someone to your standard of friendship for what you're doing and what they're, does that make sense? Like, I've
Yes.
had to learn that because I'm very much of someone, I'm a people pleaser. I am extremely empathetic and sympathetic, that I'm like, I wanna help you, and I wanna fix this, and that you care and everything, or to help make you feel loved. And I've learned that in friendships, I care so much about you in this situation, or this person in this situation, and if they don't reciprocate that back, or show me the same amount of love and care, I can't be upset and hold them to that standard. That's
Yeah.
not, it's not their job, you know? It's like, and I have to learn to not overpour because they're not coming back with 50-50, you know? Um, and so that's really hard because I don't like change. I don't like shifts in friendships, but also, you know,
It's
things
part of
naturally
growing.
happen. People grow, people do things, and you can still learn how to flourish in that situation. But I I've had to learn that it's like, all right, they obviously aren't pouring in the same amount you are anymore. So how
Mhm.
can you pull back in a way that's healthy, that they still feel loved, but that is protecting you, is not running yourself dry. And so that's really hard to do. Um, but it's also like, I can see how it's been very beneficial,
Yes.
you know, and it's hard. But also, like, now I can have friendships where I'm like, you know, we weren't like this before, but, you know, now this is where stage of life we're in now,
Mhm.
and
Good.
it's okay, and I'm content with it because I know that the people who care about me, who support me, will be with me through through the
Mhm.
highs and lows, because that's something, like, my mom talks about. It's like when something exciting happens to you, people are gonna rush around you, but when something bad happens, who's gonna show up for you, you know?
Mhm.
And I've seen it, and it's hard, and who's gonna check in and care and remember these details.
Mhm.
So that's
No,
something it's quite hard to
but
do.
it sounds bad, like, saying it, but, like, I guess this kind of answers the next question too. Like, some of my closest friendships into adulthood have been the friends that I don't talk to for, like, days to weeks to months at a time, and then something bad happens, even if it's, like, a small thing, minor, to I failed something, to I didn't get the job, to, like, someone's dead, whatever the level of
Mhm.
extremity is, and we're the first person each other goes to, or not
Yeah.
for, but we're in the, "Hey, this just happened, can you pray for me, and then can we talk about it, please, because
Yeah.
I need you right now, and I know that person's gonna answer the phone when I call them." And
Yeah.
and then the good does happen, and we
Mhm.
can be like, "Oh my gosh, so this actually did just happen. I know I
Yeah.
just told you everything was ruined." But then I also have the friends like you, who every single day, we know everything that's going on for the
Yeah.
most part. I mean, with
Yeah.
and reason, I don't tell you
Yeah.
literally every movement, but shocker. But it's the same thing of, I know if I picked up the phone and called you in the lowest moments, that you would answer just with as much care as you would if it was the absolute best moment of my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And I think you need friends on both ends of the
You
spectrum. It's
do.
the one you do every single day life with, and the friends you know, I don't have to talk to you for a couple of weeks, and you're still going to answer the phone when I
Mhm.
call you. And it took me a long
Yeah.
time to realize you don't have to have friends that you talk to every single day for them to still
Yeah.
be your friends, or
Yes.
see once a week.
Yes.
Sometimes you can see them once every 2 or 3 months.
Yes, like, I have friends who they, you know, they live in a different state, and it's like we still will, like, sometimes we won't talk to each other for a couple months, and then we check in, but, like, we see each other, and it's like, "Oh, like, there's nothing wrong," and
Yes.
that's what I've learned, like, not every friendship has to be the same,
No.
and that is okay. There's something I was gonna
Mhm.
say, and now it's completely slipped my mind.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Isn't it crazy how your brain forgets things that you're gonna say, but it doesn't forget that you forgot something?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just, like, my favorite fun fact. Um,
I also think with the next question of, like, how does your mentality change with friendships, or how has it shifted being an adult and being out of high school, is that, you're now at a point where you're, like, setting up the rest of your life, you
mhm,
know? So it's what we said, like, who do you want to raise your kids around? Who do you want to be involved in your kids' lives, you know?
yeah,
And who do you want to do these life things with? And how do you figure that out? And how do you pick apart that, you know?
mhm,
So then that's something, like, obviously we're not having kids
yeah,
anytime soon, but it's something I'm like, I have to think about because now there's different, like, it's not like, oh, we'll see each other at school, we'll see each other at this
yeah,
sports thing. It's just
but
like,
it's who can you make intentional
yeah,
life plans with?
now you're intentionally choosing to see each other. You know,
Mhm,
it's not just, oh, I just see you every week because at school, you know? And I think that matters.
no. I also say, like, my mentality is I used to be a person who was like, I need to have every single friend possible, and or at least I need everyone to like me. And I now appreciate the few close friendships, but also take care of making sure, like, this also might be the social anxiety in me of wherever I go, I know at least one person in the room.
Mhm.
One person that I would feel comfortable spending
Yeah.
whatever I'm there for, spending the day with them or the event with them, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I think, like, that's the balance of, like, I have my few close friends I do life with, and then I always know there's one person in every room I'm walking into that
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Outside of the person I feel like hosting the event. Like, if it's a party, like a birthday
Mhm.
party, I'm like, I don't wanna know the host. I don't wanna know, like, in some cases, the mom, and it's their kid's birthday party. Like, I wanna know someone else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. It's like you need to like sometimes I feel like because I'm friends with my coworkers, like we do things outside of work. I'm like I don't want to burden them with life things that are happening, but it's also like you're seeing this person every day,
mhm,
and if you have friends that you feel like you're burdening them with, they're not like what's lacking in that friendship. And there
mhm.
are some you can just constantly be ranting and dumping on, but people who are like, what, I hear you and I'm pray for you, and how can we work through that? And that's something I've had to figure out.
And it's also up to the friend or the person in general to choose if it's a burden to them or
Yes.
not.
Yes. What I was gonna say when you were talking about being someone who wanted a lot of friends, I was someone who was like, I just need to have a few close friends because the whole thing of like quality over quantity.
Mhm.
And I kind of got self conscious because when I kind of was like 21 to now, which I know is only 2 years, like more like 19 to now, I was like, I kind of gained a whole bunch of friends. And I know people would always be like, oh, you have so many friends. You have so many friends. And I felt super self conscious about that because I was like, I don't want to be this girl that has an abundance of friends and it's all like mid friends when I just want a few quality friends. But there's no issue in having a lot of friends because you have friends
No.
in different stages of life. And that's something I've had to work through when people make those comments. I'm like, all right, I know I didn't like that, but that's probably not how they meant it. And I have this friend that it's not gonna be the same friendship as this person, but it still matters. There's no issue because you can't just have one single freaking person for your whole
No.
So that also your family, your best friends in the entire world. Like, and that's something I've had to learn. And sometimes I'll be honest, I don't always prioritize my siblings and stuff or my parents, and that's something I have to learn to do because at the end of the day, you're stuck with them in a good way. Like they're the people I care about, and I've been raised with my sisters and my brother. Like
I'd
I, I know they're gonna be
no.
they're gonna be there for me at the end of the day.
I'd say differing thought. Not that my siblings aren't my best friends. Like, even my sister-in-law, I would lump her into that now.
Oh, you my brother-in-law too.
Um,
Didn't forget about you.
but what I would also challenge is this goes, I guess, for any friendship, but also in, like, family and prioritizing, only because it's a bigger thing as siblings start dating, is there equal prioritization on both ends?
Oh yeah, I mean I
Like,
agree.
there's a healthy and it's in everything. Is there a healthy balance
Yeah,
of, I can't say yes to you, like, I can't say yes to my sister every single time if the one time I ask her something, she's like, "Oh, well, I can't."
yeah,
Well, then why do you want me to say yes to you every single, that's also a personal little
yeah.
thing in there. Anyways, she doesn't listen to this, so I'm okay.
Oh,
But
awkward.
sorry, guys. I really don't care anymore. I don't know what that says, but anyways, I'm so sorry. What was the next question?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you need to have a balance of
I think it's
yeah.
a balance in, but that's in
But
everything
I've been
else, not
raised like
just
they
family.
know me more than anyone else,
Oh, yeah.
so. Next
There are people that
question,
know me at the start and at the end.
we kind of like, what are your friendship values different?
Yeah,
Kinda already
that's
covered
what's
that. Alright.
we're past all that. We're at, like, the second
Um,
or the last 2 questions, I feel like.
how did you define success now compared to how you saw it when you were younger?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked that question. That's such a great question.
Hannah wrote this
That's the one
question.
question I wrote, guys. Um, I used to view success as making my parents proud. Now, could I have defined what would make my parents proud? No, because they would have said, as long as you're happy or you're finding joy and you are still strong in your faith, we're proud of you. That's what I would guess they would say. I don't know for sure, but from what I understand, they're like always, we're always, because I used to joke to my dad, I'm like, aren't you proud of me? And he's like, well, I'm always proud of you. And I'm like, okay, but let's work through this, Kelly. But sorry, guys. I told you, like, my parents are also my best friends, so we're on a first name basis some days. The and so that used to be my version of success is like, well, if my parents are proud of me and I've lived up to whatever ideal dream they have set for me, then it's good. And it's only within, like, the past, honestly, couple of weeks have I realized that I can never reach their level because there's no level that they've set for me.
Mhm.
And so since then, my definition of success has kind of like flipped of it's a moment by moment. Like currently, I'm the most successful I've been in my life. Like I look back at like the letters I feel like I've talked about on here, like
Mhm.
that I wrote when I was like 16 and they just got mailed to me or whatever from my teacher. Like according to that, Hannah's thriving. Like minus the amount of money I have because 15, 16-year-old Hannah did not have an understanding of how much money she would have when she was 22. Thought I'd have like $30,000, guys. That is not correct. You need a full-time big girl job for that, and you don't have that when you're in high school and college, in case you were wondering, if you do normal things. But like according to that though, like from the it's like I just hope you set yourself up career-wise
Mhm.
or you set yourself up for whatever life you want. And I'm like, nope, I've set myself up for a lot of different career directions. I don't know what the career direction is anymore. I've set myself up for like literally everything. And I know my parents are proud of me through it all and my family and like friends and stuff. But I'm like, and then at the end of the day, like I feel satisfied and not like yeah, I'm satisfied, but like I truly, at the end of the day, am content
Yeah.
and know that whatever happens tomorrow is okay. And I feel like that's become my version of success, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. I
No,
realize that
I
was
get
like a
that.
long roundabout way
No, I
of
get it.
getting to the answer. Because even though, again, I wrote the question, I didn't think about the question. I thought about the first half. I didn't think about the actual, like, where I am now until now.
I get it. It makes sense.
What about you?
I would say kind of similar in the sense of like, oh, I do this and I get into this college and I do this career and this degree. I'll make my parents proud and everything. And I remember I love my career path and I always have wanted to do this, like work within the special needs community. But I remember thinking like you have to have some type of like important job to feel valuable and successful. So I was like,
Education is just as valuable and successful.
yes, but I was like, you know what, the special needs, like, that's important, people care about that, so, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great and that
Oh,
not that that was my motive of doing that, because I wanted to do it since I was, like, 13. It was just like, "Alright, well, at least people won't think I'm just, like, not doing anything, with
mm-hmm.
my life." Um, but now I'm like, if it makes me happy and it's a safe and a smart job, like, not like something like being a drug dealer, then, like,
I mean,
then it's like, if it
income
if it
security. Sorry.
if it brings you joy and it makes me happy and I can do well, then, like,
Yeah.
that's what it is, and it's not like I don't have to, ideally, I would love to make a living off of what I do, and it worked, but also, like, you it doesn't have to be the most high-paying job.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to have this abundance amount of education, even though, some jobs require it, and that's something I have to figure out, It's I thought I just had to check all the boxes to make my
Mm-hmm.
parents happy and to make everyone else in my family happy, like grandparents and everything. But it's also like you're not doing it for yourself at this point. You're just trying to satisfy. Like it's basically what you said. Um, and also like in the sense I was like, well, Jackson's doing this and Caroline's doing this and Lily's doing that, and I just feel like I'm just like mundane. I'm doing blah blah, but it's also like I
It's
don't know
not a
how they're
comparison
feeling.
game.
Yeah, it's not a comparison game. I don't know how they're feeling, so there's no point in that. And it is like I'm at a point in my life where like I love my literal job. Like I love what I do each
Mm-hmm.
day. I love the people in my department that I work with. Um I love the other people that I work with. I like what I do. I have solid friendships, I get to go home and read and I'm getting an education, not with reading, but I'm getting an education and doing school. And I have amazing friends and my family are support. Like I'm like I'm so I've in a point in my life where I'm like there's nothing innately going wrong. Not that I don't have struggles, that there aren't personal things that I'm
No, but
struggling with, but it is that like I am content in how my life is. I'm in have loving friendships and a relationship and all this stuff, and it's everything is
mm-hmm.
is okay. Not that, and also like I think also I thought in high school like, oh, if you had one day of bad insecurity and you struggle with this, then you got to start back from square one. And it's like no, you can't be
Mm-mm.
perfect all the time.
There's literally
And
one perfect person, and it's
Jesus,
Jesus.
and I can't. No amount of degrees are gonna make my parents love me more.
Yeah.
literally Harriet from Happy Place. But then it's also like the whole side of win too. You know I had to bring it when we talk about series, but it's like you can still have a satisfying, very successful job building tables. You know, there's no. I think we put too much pressure and definition in our world of how success is. I don't know. I feel like I'm just repeating everything you're saying, so it doesn't sound genuine.
No, but it's your way of saying it. And as we've already said, words have power, and it's different coming from different people.
Yeah, but also what I have learned, because this was the last thing I'll add on this conversation, is I, from a very young age, was the child that, like, whenever we play like a house game or a pretend game, I was the mother, I was the wife, like that was what I wanted to do, you know? And so ever since I loved kids, I always wanted to babysit and everything. Went through a weird spell why I didn't like babies, but whatever.
We've all been there though, like, let's be real.
And I'm like, and innately, I feel that I love my job, but I crave to be a mother and a wife. And that's not bad. It's what, some people, like, it's biblical, and some people don't feel that desire in that way, and that's totally fine. But it's also, I've had to learn that's like, just because that's what I want to do doesn't, or that's still a full career and a full job. It doesn't make it any less than working in some corporate office, And if I quit my job when I have kids, and like I'm raising my kids and I feel satisfied in that, Granted, it's all like subjective because this is happening, but like I've learned that like there is still so much success in all of that because I've seen my mom do it in raising us and homeschooling us, and I would say she's had a successful career, So anyways, I've learned to shift my thought and not degrade and push down that feeling, Anyways, that's all. I skipped over a question, but I feel like
I think we're good. I think we're
it's
good.
kind of the same. We all just covered the same things.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I'm just very distracted by, like, the skies are so dark outside right now. All the way out that way.
Oh, I can't see.
It's like dark gray clouds.
Nice.
No.
I wonder what this Braille says. Like, I wish I could read Braille. Sorry.
I think my only thing I'll add, only because you said it, and this is not diminishing your desires by any means. There's something equally as good as you can still be a wife and a good mom and work work a office job.
Oh yeah,
is what we'll call it. I didn't think you were saying it. I'm saying it from both ends of I think what is cool of us just as friends.
Yeah.
Because we both have the same desire, just in different ways.
Yes, I also want a career and to work in a business in that way. Yeah, so I'm not saying you can be a good mom and a businesswoman at the same time.
No, I didn't. That's not what I was saying. I was just saying it's like the cool ends of the spectrum of we both are successful careers.
Yes.
And you can literally do it all.
Saying this as two girls who don't have children.
But we've both seen the examples through our moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And family.
Yes, so I get what you're saying. Like, yes.
We've both seen it on both ends from both direct relatives and different perspectives. And it's just cool.
Yeah. Also, another thing my mom had told me, you can have a career, but you can also have like a side career and a side hobby. Like, I always have wanted to publish my own book. I can still do that with the freaking job I have right now. There's no limit, So
there's the whole, like, if you like your job or you make your hobbies your careers, you'll never like work a day in your life. And I agree with that to an extent, because when you have coworkers, everything changes. Like, you might never work a day in your life, but your coworkers will either make or break your job. But I think that to like a point of there's something also healthy with the work-life balance of having actual hobbies outside of your never work a day in your life where everything's like perfect job. Like, enjoy reading, do a podcast. Like, this is for sure a hobby. Does it sometimes turn into like feel like work because we actually have to do things outside of sitting and yapping into a microphone?
And which did we think about that when starting this? No.
But here we are, and it's a fun, healthy hobby that, like, some days it's easier to just be like, oh, I have to do work things. Like, people are like, what are you doing at 7:00 at night on your laptop? I'm doing work things. Like, I have to edit a podcast.
It's a lot of work to plan an episode, social media. Yeah, anyways, not that anyway, justified.
No, but like that. So that's an example of, yes, if we did this full time and we made money and this was our career, I'm sure at the end of the day we would be exhausted by it because it's no longer just a fun little thing we get to do on the side.
Yeah,
it's our livelihood. And so I feel like that goes both. I don't know.
It does.
So that's why
Well,
I
you
feel
just
like
need to have balance.
that's
Yeah.
like the work-life balance is you need something outside of work
Mhm.
to fill you
Yeah.
up.
Yes. I 100% agree.
And with that, I'm so hungry. I'm
With
sorry,
that,
guys, y'all. It's dinner time.
we will see you next week for Sunrise on the Reaping, so you better get
Whoop,
reading.
whoop.